Hi there and welcome.
Excuse me. This episode of Horizon Ministries is brought to you by the transformational architect, Jeff Dixon. He has a wonderful collection of Keys to the Kingdom series of books. Get them at fine stores.
Okay, maybe I made a bad choice for our first episode, our very first guest being Dave Bowers. I was going to be excited to get to know people, but maybe not. So I'm glad that you're joining us. And if you don't know Dave Bowers, he is the husband of Danielle, the father of Emery and Isabella, and the son-in-law, if she'll claim him, of Ruth Ann.
And I'm a son of the God, the Father.
Oh, and a son of God. Okay, we'll bring that in. Okay.
That's my DNA.
My goodness. And then here at the church at 434, he's involved in a lot of ministries. He's part of the GET, which if you don't know what that stands for, that's the Guest Experience Team. Those are those people that are greeting you as you first come in, and he does a bang-up job there. We're glad he's part of that. He also, if you went through Face the Fear, he was quite, I should have brought the picture in, quite the caricature
really?
this year. I do. He had a wig on that just wasn't scroungy enough, so he's like, hold on, and he got down and he rubbed it in the dirt and had leaves and everything in it for a crazy cavemanish kind of person. So he's involved in that ministry. He's also part of our men's ministry in the filling station. And just got a big heart for ministry. I love that he just sees something around the church that needs attention and he jumps in on more than one occasion. He's noticed an overflowing trash can and he just takes it to the dumpster, and just that kind of guy. The other thing, if you don't join us for midweek, boy, first of all, you're missing out. But Dave Bowers, 2 years ago, introduced us to Fat Bear Week. And I can't do it justice, so I'm going to let him explain to you what Fat Bear Week is.
So I learned of Fat Bear Week from a little thing called News to You. It's kind of like an online curriculum type thing that we use in my classroom. And so they have every week they do news stories. And a few years ago, Fat Bear Week came up. I'm like, this is awesome, man, Fat Bear Week. And I love
wait, did the name catch your attention? So you didn't know anything else about it except for Fat Bear Week and knew it had to be a winner. Okay.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Because, it's a winner because it's of God's creation. So, hey, Fat Bears. And Fat Bears are just awesome because an interesting fact about Fat Bears is the cool thing about Fat Bear Week, first off, is so they start in the summer, early summer, and they take pictures of these bears, right? Okay. And it's up in Alaska in this national park. And then they have cameras and stuff, and they track the bears, and they probably have them clipped or whatever with the tags. And so they take the pictures in the summer, and they're skinny. They're really skinny. And then by the time hibernation comes, which is October, late October, November, they are huge.
I'm glad he clarified.
Yeah.
I don't speak.
You gotta have the.
Yeah. Okay. That's guy speak for Billy Big.
It happens in a matter of months, right?
Okay.
So it's awesome thing.
Us during Christmas.
Yeah. Right. The holiday season, right. New Year's. Okay. So anyway, then when they go into hibernation, this is cool. They hibernate all winter, right? So what's that? 3-4 months? They do not have any movements of the bowels at all. Yes.
Wow, major constipation.
Yeah, imagine when they come out of their hibernation. Spring has sprung. What do you think makes all the fertilization for all those springs to come up of the trees and the flowers?
Oh my goodness.
It's like a river.
Wow.
Okay. So that's Fat Bear Week in a nutshell there for you.
But you get to vote on.
Yes, right.
Right.
So they have the bears, right, and they put them in the brackets, like March
And they have
Madness.
names or numbers.
Yeah,
Some of them don't have number.
I wish they all had names, but hey, we get what we get. And you don't throw a fit. And then, so they have brackets, and they put the names all in the brackets, and then the people vote. So they vote for which bear they think should be the winner of each bracket. And then, it comes down to The Super Bowl of Fat Bear Week.
And there's T-shirts and everything.
Yeah,
so if you didn't know,
you can get T-shirts, you can get like a mug, and they have merchandise. And it all goes to conservation too, which is cool. So it helps the bears and the habitat and stuff up there. And so anyway, I got the shirt. So the first Fat Bear Week I really participated in and got, and the one that I introduced to the church, I got the shirt, and I was kind of disappointed my bear didn't win, but it's got 747. The bear was 747. So
wow, okay.
I wanted Chunk to win because I love the Goonies and I love Chunk and the Truffle Shuffle. But,
wow.
I guess God didn't want Chunk to be on my shirt,
Sure. Yeah,
and then the Truffle Shuffle thing.
So I know if you missed it, you're thinking, wow, I really missed something,
Yeah,
and
right.
I need to be there next year. So make sure you start checking out midweek so you don't miss it. But that kind of segues us into what I want to talk to you next about, because that's something you had at school that you brought here and shared with us. And of course, Horizon Ministries, we talk about touching and changing the world. That's the mission statement of the church. And so just want to kind of unpack how you're doing that. I mean, I know that you're a teacher in Osceola County, but that's
Right.
about all I know. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what it is you do in Osceola County, besides spreading joy, of course.
Right. So I got into education because of a lot of the things, people have teachers, right? And when they're younger, these teachers impact you. And I had that teacher in middle school, and so when my mom passed away in high school, suddenly, that's who I went to, that teacher, right? And so, she was very important in my life, and got me through that. And then that teacher actually stopped teaching school and became a minister.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I connected with her after I became a teacher and had kids and stuff, and it's awesome. So that's what led me into education, I believe.
Okay.
Kind of and I have the serving heart too. So I always say it's better to work with kids than adults because kids have an excuse. So anyway, I ended up in Osceola County. And
Now, how did that happen?
So I started in Seminole County, right?
Okay.
And so what happened was I worked with someone that lived in Osceola County, and they went back to Osceola County, and they got a job with staffing students with disabilities.
Okay.
So oh, you gotta come over, that's great. So I went over there and did that. And then the economy crashed. That's when the housing bubble crashed and everything and blew up. And then I was first, that was my first year doing that, staffing kids. So what happened was that when the bubble burst for the housing market and the economy crashed, they cut positions. And so they brought us all together and said, well, you have a choice. You can go back in the classroom, or you can try to keep your job here, but we're going to have to interview all of you again, and you're not guaranteed it and all this stuff. So I chose to go back in the classroom. So anyway, and that's when I ended up going back to the middle school I started at in Osceola County. And long story short, I ended up because I started teaching students with what they called SLD, specific learning disabilities.
Okay.
And they changed that to VE. That's education, changes all the time, and they have these
Acronyms for everything. Yeah.
So anyway, then I went to VE, and then I got to get into what was called back then mentally handicapped, and now they call it intellectually disabled, students with intellectual disabilities. And so I got into that, and that's where I'm going to stay. I love it. I love that population. And that's where News to You, I got exposed to that. So Fat Bear Week came from that.
Okay.
And this population is great. You give to them, right? But you get more in return. They're so giving, and most of the time, they're really easy to get along with, and they're just a great group of people.
Okay. And it's middle school?
Yeah, I've been mostly at middle school my whole career.
Oh, wow.
I did a stint at high school. Oh, there he is. No. We are so blessed. So blessed.
He's going to bring you in. Jeff just walked in while we're filming, so
yeah.
We are. And he's going to include you. I would ignore you.
Oh, yeah.
This is the man.
The book to end all books right here. I have no idea what they're talking about, but I walked in the room and this is it. So.
All I can say is I've lost control of this first episode.
From the get-go.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Perfect. You can now return to the previous programming.
The check's in.
Okay, thank God.
Oh, so where were we? Because I generally ignore him when that happens, but Dave wanted to draw you in. So middle school is where you're at.
I'm just so excited.
Well, I am sure that you are touching and changing the lives of not just the children, but the adults that you work with, and hopefully their parents. I know a lot of educators say parents are so much of where the problem stems that they could just deal with the kids, but I'm sure you get an opportunity to really love on and minister. Do you have a story that you can share with us off the top of your head of how that works, or?
Yeah, I do. So I do have to work with the parents a lot. And that can be challenging, but it can be rewarding as well. And there was one young lady that came into my class from another school, and the mom was so awesome. Like, she had to basically fight for her child to see, what was going on, and she had to basically take her child to get evaluated, and she did research and stuff to see, how she could help her kid. And she had to do all this stuff, and she found out, they found out eventually that she had an intellectual disability. And so they came into my class, and so, and she just kind of blossomed, and and I get this a lot. Like, I have another student that came into my class this year, and the parents, they say, like, they're so happy with being in your class. Like, before, when they're in other classes or whatever, and they're not happy. And like, another teacher commented as well of this student that came into my class this year, and she's like, I saw this student, and like, she said hello to me. Oh. She was had a smile, and before, when she was in my class, she didn't, she was all the time melancholy and stuff like that. So it's awesome, to see that transformation. Speaking of transformational architects.
Well, that's awesome, and you can see that Dave is very passionate about what he does, and he is definitely called, and we are just thrilled to have him not only as part of our family here, but knowing that he is our outpost in Osceola County, where he is taking to heart the touching and changing the world. And so, pray for Dave.
Because Osceola County, they got Rodeo Day coming up. You know that's right.
So if you time this right, you may be able to see Dave during rodeo time. Again, another reason to come to midweek. He may dress up for rodeo days, so you'll get to see. So again, you just want to come every Wednesday night because you don't know what he's going to be into to share with all of us. So, pray for David in the days ahead, as now you've gotten to know him better as well as I have. And if there's ministry that he has talked about, or helping him love on those kids, if that's a passion you have as well and want to learn more about it, I'm sure he would be thrilled to tell you about that. And thank you for being here. And
thank you for having me.
Our challenge to you: continue to go and touch and change the world. Until next time.